goal kicker, Taylor Walker, with a welcome off. Here's Roselli. Roselli kicks the goal.
Handball to the excitement machine, McLeod. Left foot goal.
Oh, don't tell me.
He's a superstar.
Don't tell me. Oh! He's yet to kick an AFL goal. Oh, the velvet curtain.
Walker, oh, he's a colossus. He's kicked 5. He's been a handful. He's been the difference.
To cover himself in glory.
He's coming back.
And got there.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Proper Crows podcast. Thank you very much for listening, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watching on YouTube. And thank you for your continued support throughout this first half of the year. It's been absolutely unbelievable to have everyone behind us. It's been great. Today, of course, we'll be running through the round 16 win against the Tigers from yesterday, some general news, the SANFL demolition of the Roosters, and much, much more. It is not just me here this evening, though. I'm joined by Dill. Dill, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It was a nice, week off mid-season to have no football to worry about, and then to get a pretty comfortable win yesterday was nice. So it's good to be back talking about some Crows football.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Did what we needed to do. Went in, went out. Just did exactly what we needed to do. So, what was the score yesterday?
So the Crows kicked 18, 14, 122 to Richmond's 8-6-54. Goal scorers, we had Filth with 5, Max with 3, Walker, Rash, Curtin with 2, and then Rankin, Rob, Fogg, and Berry all with singles. So a bit of a spread with a couple of the boys kicking a few as well, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good spread of goal kickers yesterday, and sort of the second half we really piled it on them. Changes to the side this week. Obviously, Peatling came back in and Pedler went out with a Corky injured. What are your thoughts on that one there? I know Dom was pretty keen on Pedler dropping out the team after the Hawks game, and he got his wish. Obviously, we don't want him to be injured, but got his wish in the end.
Yeah, he did get his wish, even if it was just because of injury. But Dom's not here calling me a coward again, so that's great. Good riddance. But no, look, I thought that would be the only change. Anyway, I thought Murphy would have gone out and Peatling come back in, but because of the injury, I think that was more of a forced change. I honestly think that if Pedler wasn't injured, then Murphy would have gone out anyway, as we know that Murph remained in the team and he didn't really do much, so I dare say that he won't be playing much more footy for the club. I don't know where you stand on that, or...
Yeah, look, I mean, came in as a sub, as we said. I think he ended up having 8 touches or something in the last... When did he come in? Half-time? Just after half-time?
Just after half-time.
So, I mean, he didn't do a hell of a lot. It was probably a strange game for a sub to come in afterwards, really. We were sort of in control. Had 8 touches, 3 kicks, 5 handballs and a tackle. So, didn't do a hell of a lot. It's posed a question on social media over the last couple of days about his position in the team, and it's, the usual suspects of, going way too hard at him after he gets selected. But some valid questions coming up, specifically in our group chat today of, should we have blooded one of the kids in his spot, given that it was a game against Richmond, or are we at a position yet that we can look at games and say, yeah, that's an easy game and blood a kid? Personally, I'd rather just get wins on the board. I'm not really thinking about blooding kids and getting, the likes of Charlie Edwards who plays a completely different role on the ground as well, or maybe even Sid into the side. I'm happy to just focus on the wins and bank the wins rather than looking at, who's playing where and blooding kids. I feel like we've done that over the last few years. It's time to sort of focus on winning and in continuing our form up.
Yeah, look, in terms of blooding the kids, I just don't think that we're sort of at that stage anymore. Like, we're not in a rebuild. We're sitting third. There is no need to aimlessly. Like, it's not aimlessly, if you know what I mean, anymore. I just don't think that we need to force anyone coming in. Like, Sid Draper needs to be playing consistent football. I said that 6 weeks ago. There's no point of bringing him in from to sit on a bench and play half a game of football, then go back to the SANFL, have 20 touches, come back in, play another half a game of football in the AFL. Like, what does he get from that?
Yeah.
He doesn't get anything from it. We've seen what's happened with Dan Curtin. He, bided his time in the SANFL. He was playing consistent football, came in late in the year last year, played some decent footy, and now we're halfway through the season and look at him. Like, they need to be playing consistent football and not coming in for the sake of it. We're not a team anymore that needs to just get runs on the board with these youngsters. They just
Yeah,
it isn't the time. The time is now, essentially. Like, we are now in that window. We're probably a year ahead of where we thought we were going to be. There is no need to be playing these kids for no reason. And yes, the Lockie Murphy selection. Look, it's hard, but it's a like for like. Like, do you really want Sid Draper playing as small that small lockdown pressure forward? We don't want that, do we? I don't think
no,
anyone wants that. I don't think that works with development at all. In terms of Charlie Edwards, like, he'll get his time. He's going to get his time. Like, I think we just need to sort of set off take a step back for 2 moments and sort of just evaluate where we're at. We're sitting third. We're 2 games off top. We've got a nice run coming in here. These boys are going to get their time. There's no reason to sort of lash out and be like, look, we need to play the kids. It just doesn't need to happen anymore.
yeah. No, I fully agree. I think let them work on their own individual development when we're in a position where they can. I think the downside, the last couple of years, you'd sort of see, a Billy Dowling, a Zach Taylor, those sorts come in for a game and then maybe not have the best game and just go straight back to the SANFL, which, whether I would do it like that, probably not. I'd probably give them a full block over the last couple of years. But this year, we're going well, sitting third on the ladder. Let them develop their game in the SANFL like Dan Curtin was able to do last year. Let them get themselves ready and then they can come in and flourish from there when the time's right. Like you said with Sid, so if we take him in for Murphy, he's going to sit on the bench for half, like you said. Come in, probably, maybe give a little bit more than Murph, but given it's only a half a game, he's probably not going to get the chance to give much more than that. And then we're all talking about, how he's not developed enough, how he's not doing this, how he's not doing that. So let him get 4 quarters of footy in the SANFL and keep building on that. And then when the time's right, when there's a spot available, he'll be ready to go rather than just inconsistently coming in and out and in and out. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
And the same people that are going to sit here and whinge that they're not playing football, if we went out and played a Charlie Edwards and a Sid Draper against a top 4 side in Gold Coast or Collingwood in a couple of weeks, we go and play these boys. We then get smashed in the midfield, and it's going to be the same idiots that are sitting there and whinging that our midfield isn't good enough, and that we need one more. We need one more experienced player in. You can't win, and they just want to whinge for the fucking sake of it. And I'm so sick of it. I'm so over it.
Yeah.
It's like, pull your heads in, for fuck's sake. Like, can we not just sort of sit there and appreciate where we've come over this last 5 years with Knicks? Like, I don't think people understand how shit we were. We were awful. We were awful. The club was in disarray from the whole camp bullshit and everything else that happened. And, 4 years later, we're going to say 4 years because COVID year doesn't count. I don't care.
I'm happy with that.
It doesn't, it doesn't count. Like, we had fines and all of that sort of shit because we trained in more than blocks of 6. Like, for fuck's sake. The COVID year, it doesn't count. It's taken 4 years to get to where we are. We're in the best state that we've seen since 2017. We're sitting in the top 4. Just give it a rest. Give it a fucking rest. Anyway, that's it from me. Let's move on.
No, absolutely. We'll move into the positives. And I mean, the big thing for me was how we were setting up behind the ball, especially in the first half. It was reminiscent of that Hawthorn game in the first half as well. We were just behind the ball, not letting Richmond get anything. I think was it probably 5 or 10 minutes in, they pulled up a stat on the screen on Channel 7 and it was we'd had 26 disposals in our forward half to Richmond 0 or something like that.
Yeah.
We were just not letting them get anything. And I know, granted, the full perspective of things, we're playing Richmond, who are probably the second or third worst team in the comp, but to be able to set up the way we were, and even in periods where we would just control the ball when Richmond, flooded the back lines, it was really positive to do that and just to just roll in and do exactly what we needed to do. Basically, that was my best takeaway from yesterday.
Yeah, I thought we set up well for that that first half, but I honestly thought, as I was pretty vocal about, I thought the first quarter and a half was pathetic. I thought it was absolutely pathetic. We set up fine, that's all good, but once the ball sort of hit that final third of that 70-80 meter drop zone, we were disgraceful. It was disgusting to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Um,
bombing.
It was a lot. It was a lot of bombing. It was, and it was just even when it hit the floor, nothing was going on. It was a really hard watch, and I was sitting there thinking, "Oh man, this is bad. This is awful." So look, defensively, great, and that's why you win a premiership, right? You win your premierships from from your back six. Defense wins a premiership. We've seen that time and time again.
Yeah.
But if we're going to be that wasteful that early, or we're going to get found out a few times, I think, late in September, because you can't be doing that. You've got to be so clean in that sort of 70-60 meter arc. You've got to lower the eyes and sort of put it on someone's tit, because if not, he's going to get rebounded. It's going to go. You ain't going to be US and Richmond every week.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be cleaned up pretty quickly, and it was rectified in the second half. But we can't be playing 2 quarters of football like that.
No, exactly. It's a bit of the start, and it was actually very similar to the Hawthorn game in terms of dominating absolutely everything. But we went in at quarter time, 2-5, and we were only up 16 points on a team who we absolutely dominated. There's no other way to put it. We were dominant all over the park, but we just couldn't kick straight yesterday. But after quarter time, I mean, we only kicked 7 behinds after quarter time, so we're okay. Sorry, 9 behinds after quarter time. We were all right after that and got it going, but yeah, against a good team, it's certainly not ideal. But we were able to sort of work that out yesterday, given we were playing Richmond. So just fix that up, and we will be all right. Like, imagine you go in at quarter time 5-2 instead of 2-5. You're looking at a completely different game, and probably dead by quarter time.
There was a bit not sort of going our way as well. Like, Tex had an awful first quarter.
Yeah.
It was, I was pretty vocal about that yesterday. He just, I don't know, there was something wasn't right in that first bit. He stepped up later. It was good. He had that massive field kick that hit Rash on the tit from about 80 out, and then Rash got that front on free kick.
Yeah.
Which Derm said was wrong because he had his eyes with the football. Doesn't work like that, Derm. But anyway, yeah, I just think that you clean up and disposal a little bit, lower the eyes, and we're in pretty good shape. But yeah, it was a little bit disappointing to start off with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even Tex still had 7 touches in the first quarter, took 3 marks, had 0 goals too. I mean,
he had 5 turnovers, I think, though, in the first quarter.
Yeah, there you go. Had 4. Yeah, that was probably the difference in having a great quarter and not such a great quarter. But
yep,
yeah, got it going, so it was all right at the end. What else have we got here? Basically, what we've said, bit of inaccuracy early, but kicked into gear after quarter time. Let's jump into the player that everyone has been talking about for the last 24 hours or so. A real breakout game for Dan Curtin. It's been building. He's been coming to this all season. We've seen it. I reckon I've had Dan Curtin's flowers on the run sheet probably 7 times this year. But 26 touches, 11 score involvements, 9 contested possessions, 495 metres gained, and 2 goals, all of which are career highs for him so far. He just keeps getting better and better. I don't know about your thoughts of his game yesterday, but I'm loving watching this kid, and he's going to be an absolute star for the next 15 years.
This kid is a bona fide A-grader. He is a weapon. He is 197 centimetres. He lines up on a wing, can move into the midfield, and then goes forward as a 4th tall.
Yeah, literally does everything.
If he starts on a wing and then pushes into the centre contest, there is not a single player in the competition that can go with him. He's a cheat code. He is a cheat code. He is turning into that. This is where I want to see him go. But he obviously played down in the back 6 as a junior in the under 18s. But I honestly think he's got that Bontempelli mould. He can do it.
Yeah,
he can.
100%.
He can. He's so clean below his knees. He wins the contested ball. He's so good above his head. He can kick a goal. We've seen what the Bulldogs are starting to do with Joel Frazier. I honestly want us to start doing the same. This kid is a freak, or even if he plays off a high half forward and then pushes up, he starts as a high half forward and then pushes up the ground a little bit more. If he doesn't start in the middle, this this boy he is different gravy. He is different gravy. Just the way that he's able to sort of get to that next contest and be that intercept and then push forward and create something. Oh, that little sidestep that he had in the third quarter, I think, and then who did he hit on the tit? Max, and then he hit Max on the tit afterwards. It's just ridiculous. That snap that he kicks, took a couple steps, bang on the boot. Fuck. Oh, we've got a good one here. We've got a very, very good one here, and he's going to be an absolute star for the next 10, 15 years.
Absolutely. He's just a jack of all trades, really. Like, he can go literally anywhere on the ground and just do it. He just kicks into gear wherever he goes, and he does it well. And it's really encouraging to see him come on. And I mean, after last year, you had people go, another bust draft pick, and why'd we trade up to get him and all of that stuff. Well, we're starting to see why we traded up to get him. He's just consistently putting these numbers together. And if he can stay at this sort of trajectory, then the sky's the limit. And I don't disagree with the Bond call. He's got a pretty similar body makeup. He's got good agility. He can go through the middle. He can go forward. He can go wherever the hell you need him, like a Bond. So over the next couple of years, he's probably going to be someone that we're going to lean on for that sort of stuff. And as I said, jack of all trades. So very encouraging.
I think what could happen, and I know that a few of the boys are going to sit there and see that I compared it to Joel Frazier. I'm not saying that Joel Frazier is better. I'm saying that I want him to be played in that capacity.
Yeah.
Because Frazier pushes through the middle, and I want to see DC push through the middle as well. So before anyone comes at me, I'm not saying Frazier's better. I wanted to play in that role. All right. So I'm going to get that straight off because I already know that fucking Ambrose and a couple of other boys are smashing the things on the keyboard. So let's get that sorted real quickly.
Great call, actually.
Yeah.
So you can preempt that coming 100 miles away,
Yep. But I think what can also happen as well, I think once Tex sort of finishes up, I think he might push into that sort of role as well.
Yeah.
He's a big, we see how good his kick for goal is. He takes a massive overhead mark, he can lead out, he's quick, so it wouldn't surprise me if he sort of goes down that role. But we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He's just growing before our eyes. It's great to see. And I mean, to add to those stats as well, he also had 5 tackles, which is pretty impressive for a bloke his size too. Speaking of,
he absolutely dropped Prestia, I think it was.
Yeah, there was one there where he just
Yeah, I reckon it was a little meatball. He just grabbed him and just bang bang. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Probably not that much of a challenge on the little meatball, as you said, for him. He can just probably do it with one hand, really.
Yep.
Speaking of big fellas up forward as well, Riley Thilthorpe just dominated. Probably padded the stats a bit late in the last quarter, but ended up with 5 goals, 6 marks, 6 hitouts, 2 clearances. He was doing it all and just looked unstoppable, especially in that last quarter, was just taking marks wherever he wanted. 16 touches in the end, 12 kicks, 4 handballs. He had a tackle as well, was going through the middle a fair bit too. What were your thoughts on Thil's game? He was just dominant.
He needed it. I'll tell you that much. He needed it. He's been a little bit lackluster, I think, the last month. I'm not sure if you agree with me there, but
yeah, a little bit.
He hasn't. He's been great. Like he's had his big breakout year, I think, as we sort of said. But yeah, it was good by him. He took a couple big marks late and just sort of showed how dominant that he is. And that little sidestep that he did on Jack Ross and dropped him was great as well. 200 centimeters player shouldn't be able to do that. Should not be able to do that. Can you imagine if fucking Darcy did that?
I was literally about to say it, mate. If Darcy did that, it'd be the best thing that's ever happened in Australian rules football. But I feels at least on the same par, if not better. At this stage. I'd be taking Filth over Darcy, but that's just me.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it because I'll get my ass rimmed. But he's a jet. He's a weapon. He's going to be a household name for many years. And There is bits and pieces that I think he needs to work on. His goal kicking is one. Like I always feel a bit shaky when he's
Yeah,
lining up for goal. But look, just the way he's able to sort of hit a contest, and if he needs to, he can take it overhead. If he needs to, he'll take it out in front of him. He's quick. He gets off the mark easily. He can just destroy you in a one-on-one.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I'm really happy that he's really coming to what we thought he was going to be, and it's being that big stay-at-home forward. And I really hope that he does stay as that stay-at-home forward, because I don't think that we can really afford to waste him going in and playing as that rock. If we can get a Draper or someone like that, I really don't want to see him wasted there.
yeah. No, 100%. I mean, there isn't anyone in the league. There are very few fullbacks that can even run with him, much less beat him one-on-one. So get him up forward. If we've got a midfield doing a job, then feed him enough and he will kick plenty of goals up there, even if he's a sole operator up the front. He's just that good. Max as well, the swing man, yesterday, chucked him up forward from the first bounce as a lockdown roll on Boston, and kicked 3 goals for himself. Can you see that as being a once-off sort of thing, or do you reckon we'll roll with it again, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think it might happen again. It's I don't know. I'm a little bit 50-50 with it. I think we were just doing it yesterday to try something new.
Yeah,
Given that it was, I don't want to say only Richmond, because obviously every game is, you've still got to come out and go bang, bang, bang. But I, now that we've seen it once, see that he can do it, it wouldn't surprise me if it is pulled out every few weeks. Like Voston still had 15 touches. He wasn't like he was completely dead. He didn't have the involvement as to what he normally has. He was pretty lackluster. He only took for 3 marks, compared to what he can normally do when he sort of sits out the back and sort of rebound. They took 6 kick-ins and played on 6 times, so really he only had 9 touches.
yeah,
But yeah, look, the way that he's able to do that, and then if he can hit the scoreboard as well, is excellent. Like, we've got Melbourne next week, so it wouldn't surprise me if he goes to maybe a Jake Bowie,
yeah, not bad. Yeah,
who's been in some pretty good form this year, and I think that's probably someone we can sort of maybe look to where he goes if he does. Um, yeah, if it happens every week, then that's fine if it's working. But I don't really want to see him sort of not wasted playing that lockdown forward role, but he is so valuable down back with his rebounds and his intercepts, and him just being
yeah,
able to win those one-on-one contests. I don't want someone else to go back there and it not work. But we've seen how good Butts and Keane have been, and we've got Murray to come back, so maybe Keane can play that little bit smaller, and we can afford to go Max down there and Muzz come in and play all 3 of those boys back there. So it'll be interesting. It does give us a little bit of versatility, especially with the way that Melbourne line up. It'll be interesting to see, because they haven't exactly got that one big tall forward who's going to give you that bang, 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 because they do line up a little bit smaller with Fritz and Melksham. So it'll be
yeah.
interesting.
It certainly will be interesting. I mean, I'm probably of the opinion where we know, as good as he played on the weekend, he is a defender. End of the day, I think he goes to a Cozzy Pickett this week, and he's the sort of bloke who can, well, not necessarily lock him down. It's hard to lock Cozzy Pickett down, but he will be more valuable down back this week. I mean, our forward line's rolling along pretty well, that you don't need to, it's not an emergency break glass kind of situation. He can go down back and we'll be just fine up forward. So I
Yeah,
think,
does Cozzy go to the midfield though? He's been playing through the middle. Like, he attended
true.
27 CBAs last week. Cozzy, 27.
Yeah,
That is, he's not a forward anymore. He's now a midfielder. So does Max follow into the midfield like we saw him do in
last
that
year, I think.
2023 showdown? I think Max went to the midfield. Do we see
Yeah.
do we see that happen? Like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what we do this week. I mean, because we know if you let Cozzy off the leash, he's someone who can rip a game apart. So you definitely need to put some attention with him. Do you do that through a midfielder or you do that through Max coming up through the guts? It'd be interesting to see where we go. And personally, I'm happy to see him follow him up, given Melbourne's forward line isn't, it's no upper echelon sort of forward line or anything like that. But yeah, I'm intrigued by that now that we've started talking about it. I'm interested to see what we do with him this week.
Yeah, look, I don't think we've got anyone that can go with Cozzy in terms of pace and speed.
Yeah,
If you put Sam Berry onto him, gee, that's going to be an ugly sight. Um, in terms of in
speed.
terms
Yeah,
of speed and if the ball hits the ground, but yeah, it's going to be a tough one because you haven't got that like for like with him.
yeah. No, it's a tough matchup. Anyway, we'll get into the into next week's matchup a bit later on. We'll continue talking about the Tigers game. Just wanted to give a shout out to Wayne Miller because he's been going along very nicely, but had 27 touches yesterday, 82% disposal efficiency, 11 marks and 500 metres gained. He's just quietly going along about his business, doing what he needs to do, being a very valuable member of the team, and probably isn't getting the recognition enough from the fans online and getting all the chirp around him, but he's been playing very well. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to him. What were your thoughts on Wayne's game yesterday?
He was good yesterday. He just got it done, really, didn't he? We were switching the ball a fair bit, sort of having a bit of a piss around at the back from time to time, and he was there to be that deadly kick from our back 50 into the midfield, and he had a few absolutely splitting, darting kicks, which is what you need, a game-winning kick, I like to call it. He was able to just sort of split the whole game in half and go bang, which is great to see. Like he had 8 intercepts as well, so he's getting across, doing what he needs to do. His fitness is obviously back up to where it needs to be because he had 90% time on ground as well. So
Yeah,
it's really good to see him in a good space physically because we haven't really seen it since he was drafted, have we? You
yeah,
know?
pretty much. Not really. Maybe 2018, 2019, that little patch, and then just injury after injury from that, basically.
Yeah. So no, I'm really really happy for Junior because it's good to see him playing some good footy.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other players you want to give a quick shout out to before we move on?
I thought we nailed it pretty well. I think Sam Berry was great again. He's having a nice little patch of form since he's come back into the team. He kick a goal, having 23. He's really starting to hit the ground now. And as we said the other week, he's really got his way into the best 22. And it's going to be very hard to get him out, I think. But no, I'm happy for Sammy. Basically, I think everyone played a role yesterday.
Yeah,
Darcy was a bit quiet, but Jordan Butts as well. I just want to give him a very big shout out. He was
absolutely.
absolutely superb on Lynch. Holds him to 2 touches, 1 goal, and a stupid fucking lash out. Can we quickly touch on that?
Yeah, please. That was the next thing on the run sheet. Let's go over him being an absolute grub.
That was fuck. That's disgusting. Like it is so far from where the game's got to. That is absolutely ridiculous. Can you imagine if he got him clean in the back of the head?
Yeah, that's what I was saying in the chat yesterday. He could literally have killed him if he hit him in the wrong spot. It's
That is it is a it's it's a coward punch. It is what it is.
yeah,
Swinging behind back of the head for a club that has had Noah Bolter in the spotlight for doing this as well, and then for fucking Adam Uzi to come out and say, "Oh, we're going to seek clarification." Fucking do not try and justify it. I think that in
yeah.
itself is disgusting. It is disgusting. Um, and then for who was it? Jack Ross at halftime to say, you know,
Part of the game.
he stood up and apologized to the group, but it's a part of the game. No, it's fucking not a part of the game. It is not a part of the game. You do not go out there and start smacking people in the back of the head. We're already seeing it enough out at junior footy, all these little punch ons. These kids are going to sit there and think it's fine for me to go and whack someone because I'm frustrated. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's just, it's, I see it enough out there of kids making a big tackle and then pushing them back down because that's what they do in the AFL. I hate it. I
yeah,
can't stand it. And then, as I said, for the fucking coach to come out and say we're going to seek clarification because he's frustrated is the biggest load of hogwash I've ever heard.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And the comments on a lot of posts from Richmond fans, and you can quickly pick the Richmond fan, talking about, oh, yeah, he gets held all the time. The umpires aren't doing him any favours, so it was just it was always going to happen. Like, he's dealing with the same stuff that every other forward in the AFL deals with. It's just that he's playing in a side now where he doesn't get the delivery that he's used to from, obviously coming over from the Suns to Richmond, winning a couple of flags. He's probably frustrated that your team isn't particularly great and he's not getting any service. And he's
Well,
taking it out on
he's on $1.5 million a year. He
Yeah,
fucking chose to do this. There's no one else's issue. And then he tried to seek a trade last year. He's just a dickhead. Like, I'm
yeah,
sorry, like he does this all the time. It is, it really pissed me off. And like, here's a comment here. I'm going to name him from big old Keith Upton. Spot the
here we
Richmond
go.
fan. Trial by media in full force already. Should be 2 weeks by the MRO grading scale, but the AFL will want at least 4 or possibly 5 since the Tiger season is over. What the?
Well, yeah, what's with this interpretation from Richmond fans that they're all just, hard done by and always get shafted by the AFL, by the way? I've seen that a lot today, being like, oh, he's wearing the wrong colours, so he'll get 4 weeks.
Do we not remember what happened 8 years ago with Trent Cotchin?
Yeah,
Like you cannot have blokes going around doing it. It's just disgusting, and like it has a really really serious potential to cause a really really serious injury. And if it wasn't on the footy field, he would have been charged for assault.
yeah,
We saw Noah
100%.
Bolter do it, so
Yeah.
it's just nah.
And what, maybe 5 minutes before he punts Keeney in the arm, or butts in the arm as well. So,
And he
I don't know.
he tried to kick Worrell in the back of the head. I don't know if you saw that either.
Yeah, no, I did see that one.
But the initial hit wasn't even what he got reported for. It was the second one.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I don't know, were you watching on 7 or Fox?
7.
Yeah, and the commentators were literally saying after that first one, they could, they were like, oh, you can see that he's getting frustrated and something's going to boil over here. And then 2 minutes later, he's swinging towards the back of Butsy's head. I don't know. There was 2 minutes to go in the half why Richmond didn't pull him off after that first incident. And then even the second incident, they didn't pull him off or anything like that either. Just let him strut around like...
It's just a lack of leadership, really. And it's probably lucky that no one went and really hit him in a 50-50 contest. Like,
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that was a Stephen May or a Bruzzy May night out there? He
Oh,
would
yeah.
not. He wouldn't have seen he wouldn't have seen 3/4 time. He just wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So I think what annoyed me the most as well, what Derm said, yeah, good hit. Fucking, what are we doing? What are we doing? We've got people getting suspended for 3 weeks, like Paul Curtis got 3 weeks. My man Paul Curtis got 3 weeks for nothing. You saw Alex Taru got 5 weeks in the VFL for standing there. It's just that we've seen in the last hour that he's been sent straight to the tribunal. They want at least 5 weeks, which is good. But honestly, if he's only getting 5, I'm not going to be happy. I think it needs to be 6 or 7 and really send a message of this can't happen. It's as simple as that. It's cannot happen.
Yeah, no, plain and simply, it's something that we don't want to see in the game at all. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where the tribunal go. But I strongly agree, it's something that we can't be having in our game, and just a bit of a joke
100%.
really. That was people trying to cover it up really.
Yeah, no, it's not okay. And if he play, look, I don't think he'll play again this season. There's only 7 games left for him. I think he'll get 7 or 8. In all honesty,
Yeah, potentially, absolutely.
Yep.
Now we will go to some feedback from the listeners from yesterday's game. On Instagram, we had Damien Catanzariti. Let me just Catanzariti. I probably butchered that completely, so apologies, Damien. But basically said, Curtin is an absolute weapon, was waiting for his breakout game, and we've got it. Roscoe, the Boston coach, says Dan Curtin for president. Shania says Dan Curtin could hit me with a car and I would apologise. Paul Macker says, good game, did what we needed to do, great to get back to Adelaide Oval next week, and it feels like a very long time since we've been at Adelaide Oval, since that last game there as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's it been, almost a month?
Yep.
Mitchell says, the prophecy will come true. one there from Mitch. Over on Twitter, we have got Daniel who says, great four-quarter performance. Curtin, wow. Filth, Miller and Max Worrell, hinge butts good. Saligo a bit down this year, was hoping he would take a leap. No injuries, the key, and fuck Tom Lynch.
Yep.
Interesting point about Saligo. He was a bit quiet yesterday. I think he had 15 touches or so. He's sort of not taken that next step.
Yeah, he sort of plateaued a little bit, hasn't he? He had such a great start to the season. He sort of died off. He'll be fine. He's shown that he can be, that elite player, but he's still young. I think it will come, but I don't think he's gonna reach the levels that we might have thought he was going to at the start of the season. But I still think he's going to be a very, very good player, but I don't think he's going to be able to take that next step to that bona fide star that we all expected. I'm not sure if you agree with that, or if it's just a young player that's struggling a little bit.
It could be a bit of both. I mean, we're having a very even season at the same time as well. Like when you look at all the players holistically, you've got someone even like a Jordan Dawson, where we were saying a couple of weeks ago that probably by his standards he's down a bit, and all the other players, if you look by numbers, are probably down a bit. So it could just be a matter of us playing a far more team-orientated game, so he's not getting as much chance to take over. But it just, there's a little bit to be desired from Jake, I think. But I'll obviously back him in to get himself right and lift that standard a little bit more, but nothing to be concerned about yet.
Yeah, no.
Over on Facebook, we have got Jill who says Berry played a good game, one that slips under the radar a bit, so following on from your sentiment a second ago. Leone with a bit of a comment. Just keep up this fabulous teamwork. So good to watch our Crows boys. Red Heart, Yellow Heart, Blue Heart. That's an Adelaide Crows part of the forum special, that one. Logan says, nice warm-up after a bye is always good. Murphy in for Rochelle is an average call, though. Why not give one of the young fellas a run against the lower side? I just can't fathom the mindset of the coaches sometimes, but a good win nonetheless. So probably touching on what we were talking about a little bit earlier. But
yeah, I don't... Oh, this is... I'm gonna get pissed off again, but the whole fucking... People coming and saying why when we subbed off Rochelle. Fucking, does he really need to be playing 4 quarters of football when we're up by that much? Give the kid an extra week. Like, he now essentially only played a half of football in 2 weeks. He's going to be raring to go in a very big game on Sunday. I say very big because Melbourne aren't slouches anymore. They've really stepped up these last few weeks.
yeah,
I understand. Yes, you might want to get Tex off, but Tex is 30. What is he? 35. If he has 2 weeks off, he's going to fucking develop arthritis. He needs to be moving that body still. So rest in the guns. It's fine. Let it be. If you're whinging about us taking off a star player because we're that far up, go find a hobby. Seriously.
yeah. I mean, well, we've seen it earlier in the year when Rankin got subbed off against Essendon,
And people loved it. And people were like, yeah, this is sick. This is sick. But because fucking Murphy came on, they were whinging. Get a life, you bunch of weirdos.
Nah, it was a bit like that. I can't remember earlier in the season. Was it Laird that got subbed off for one of the games? And yeah, those first couple of games when we were resting, I'm absolutely fine with it. I mean, Joshy clearly wasn't very happy with it as he was coming off, but had a bit of a chat with Nixie at 3/4 time and all was fine. So
Yeah. Well, it's good though. Like, he wants to play football, and that's great to see.
Yeah.
It's what you want to see, really. But look, if you're going to be whinging about that, you're just finding for a reason to whinge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just enjoy where we're at. We're cruising along pretty nicely, sitting in the top 4. Be critical, of course, but
Yeah, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying don't be critical, because when we need to, I'm probably one of the more critical blokes. Like, I was up and about after that first half because of a pathetic start. But when people are just ripping people to shreds for no reason, it just becomes weird.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I tend to agree.
Like, whatever. Keep moving.
No, absolutely. So we'll move on to our 3-2-1s from yesterday, mate. Who have you got at your 1?
I've got Jordan Butts in at the 1. Just for the game that he played on Lynch, held him to 2 touches and a goal, and that goal was a bit of a gimme. I just think the role that he played was absolutely superb, and a few of the boys have come out and have made a point of it. The club even did a post as well about him. I'm not sure if you saw that about 2 hours ago. The club actually came out and posted a photo of him and Tom Lynch.
Oh, actually, yeah, I did see that as a part
Yeah,
of like that
and made a
flow.
bit of a post and put Dancing Queen over the top of it.
Yeah,
So I think that was a bit of a direct fuck you at Tommy. But yeah, look, Jordan Butts with the one, I thought he was excellent.
I rate it very highly. For me, I'm going with Wayne for the reasons I said earlier. I think he tracked along. He played a very good game yesterday. Had the most touches for us on the ground. Took 11 marks. Was very, very good yesterday. So Wayne gets my 1. How about your 2?
For my 2, I've got Riley Thilthorpe. You know, you kick a bag. He's pretty dominant everywhere, as we went through before.
Yeah,
So, yeah, we can't really give him the 3 because I think
yeah, we know what's coming here.
I think everyone knows who the 3 is going to. But I thought Riley was great yesterday.
100%, and yeah, I echo that. Riley gets my 2 as well. It'd be stiff to miss out on the votes when you kick 5 and have the performance that he did. And can I assume that you might have D Curtin at your 3 votes?
Yeah, I've got Danny fucking Minerals in it with 3 votes. So just he was awesome yesterday. That was the breakout game that we've really been wanting to see. Just, just, oh, as I said before, he's so good. He's so good, and we're very lucky to have him at the footy club. Very lucky that he signed on as well until 2029.
Mm.
He's really, really enjoying his footy here, and yeah, 3 votes for DC.
Yep, 100%, and for me too. And if you're listening along, wondering where our tally of the votes is, I just plain and simply forgot through the bye week, so I'll get that up in the maybe the next week or so. Bit of time over this weekend, so we'll get the tally up of who's leading, so we can count towards the run home and see who gets our best of the year. Before we jump into the news, of course, Dill, you and I did an interview last week with someone quite special. If you're listening at the moment and you've missed the post on the socials, who did we have a chat with last week, mate?
We had a chat with Matty Samet, so the bloke who plays the saxophone before all of the pre-game stuff at Adelaide Oval. If you do get to the footy, then you know exactly who we're talking about because he really gets the crowd up and going before the game. So that was pretty cool actually to have a chat with him. So
Yeah,
got a bit of insights about a few things and how he sort of came to get to where he was and a bit about the footy club. So no, it was great to have a chat with him.
absolutely. It was very good to have a chat with him. Thank you very much for Matt for his time as well. If you're listening and you want to check that out, go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the usual. Find the link on our socials if you want to go through that way as well on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Proper Crows Pod. We'll jump into the news. Dan Curtin, you said it a couple of moments ago, signed a 3-year contract extension, which was very, very promising during the week. Great to see him commit to the club, and by all means, it sounds like he's very much enjoying his footy here and the culture and the boys. Great to have him around until, 2028 at this stage?
2029, wasn't it?
29 even? 2029,
Yeah,
yep.
because he still had this and next year left.
Yeah.
So no, but it's really good. And I think what sort of stood out is that he came out and said that it was because of the culture and the club that he wanted to stay. So that's great. And I really do hope that we try and get a pick and really get his brother here. Because we can get his brother here, he'll never leave.
Yeah, no, that would be absolutely massive. And I did see in the post-game photos yesterday, he was getting around in the Crows Guernsey in the room. So suited him pretty well, old Cody. So hopefully we can get him in there full time.
Yeah, I reckon he will drop out. We'll obviously talk a little bit more drafts later in the season, but obviously the draft is very compromised. But I reckon he will fall a little bit because it is compromised. So if we can get a pick, around the probably say 10 to 15 mark, I reckon you could have another player in
Yeah.
another Curtin in the club. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, no, it would be nice. I think what would we hold at the moment? Do we have a first rounder this year?
Yeah, we do. So we would have 15 at the moment.
So yeah, around that mark. But yeah, obviously a lot to play out with that towards the end of the year with trading.
Yeah, but then you've got all your trading and everything. But we'll see what goes. We'll see what goes on because a lot of picks are going to fall because there's so many compensate. There's going to be the Oscar Allen compensation.
Yeah.
There's I think the Gold Coast have got a couple of academy players. Brisbane have got an academy player. Sydney have got an academy player. It's just it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. So I would love to have him, but I don't think that we're going to go to hands on him because I think we're going to trade out at
Pull
least
down too far.
one first, and we're going to fall out as well. So I'm getting closer and closer to Sam Draper signing with us from what I've been hearing. I don't think he's going to stay at Essendon, and I think at the moment we are front runners with Brisbane. So we'll see what goes on.
Hopefully he's up in Queensland respectfully, but we'll see how
Yeah.
that plays out, I suppose. Another contract extension, Lockie McAndrew signed a 2-yearer as well, which is pretty good to see him sticking around. Hopefully gets his chance at the ruck role, and maybe that'll depend on whether Sam Draper does end up coming, or Rob leaves, or Rob stays, or what happens with our ruck situation next year, which will be a big watch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would say that he's got this 2 years. I'd say Strawn will obviously go. It was good to see Strawn actually back in the SANFL. We'll have a look at that after. He kicked four sausages.
He did.
But yeah, I think McAndrew will get a go at some point. He'll get a crack.
Yeah, absolutely he will. I think he's playing well enough in the SANFL that he probably deserves a shot at some stage if Rob, falls off a bit. But I mean, being a contract year, he's probably not going to fall off this year. So maybe next year, if you're lucky, we'll see how you go. Bit of injury news. Luke Pedler, as we said earlier, copped a knee to his quad at training last week. So just a corky for him was the reason that he was out of the squad. Oscar Ryan was seeing his surgeon to see if he can return to training after his broken jaw. So he should be back training probably this week because that was an article from last week. Matt Crouch will return to training within sort of the next week or so. He's listed as being available in 4 weeks, so good to see Matty back on the track. Tyler Welsh had a pin removed from that broken toe and will start a 3-week training block as well, so he'll be back in the SANFL in about a month or so. And Toby Murray will be starting to run again this week after his broken ankle. So positive news, nothing really too serious, and good to see some boys getting back onto the track and the injury list sort of shortening down, touch wood, it stays that way.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we've been pretty lucky with injuries, in all honesty, this year. So that normally happens when you've got your best 22 and a fit side out in the park. You're going to be winning games of football. So hopefully we can keep that going because it is nice having a big selection.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So hopefully we can keep those boys on the park and just keep a nice list, an injury list of being very minimal as we head towards the pointy end of the year. SANFL, we absolutely smacked North Adelaide on the weekend. What was the score there, mate?
The Crows, 23 goals, 10, 148 to North Adelaide's 10-4, 64. We had the meaning of life. Chris Burgess kicked 7. Strawny and Taylor with 4. Nate with 3. Cook with 2. Dowling, Gallagher and Jones all was singles. And then we had Nick Murray as well, who returned to this team and had 16 touches and 6 marks. So good to see him back. But yeah, that was an absolute shellacking. I'm not sure if you watched it. I wasn't personally watching it, so I can't really make any comments on it. But good to see Burgess kick 7. He's raring at the bit to get a goal, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I watched a bit of it on and off on Saturday afternoon and was seeing some highlights come through the chat as well. Sid had a very good game. He looked very classy through the midfield. Cook was very good as well, I thought. And big James Borlase had the most touches on the ground for the Crows as well, with 23 touches. And I think it was 15 marks or something ridiculous like that. So the depth is just chomping at the bit there and ready to go when we need. But as you said, Chrissy Burgess putting himself in a nice position for that Ken Farmer medalist as we head into the second half of the SANFL year as well. Another 7 for him. He must be somewhere near the top of that ranking.
Yeah. Let me actually just grab it up quickly to see where he's sitting.
So I've just found the stats at the moment here. He's actually sitting in second in the medal. Lockie Hosey of Glenelga's kicked 36 and Burgess is second with 33 goals. So he's right up there. Obviously, Glenelga are a very good team and they kick plenty of goals, so Hosey is obviously going to be in the box seat for it. But if Chrissy Burgess can keep performing the way he has and doesn't get called up to the league side or anything like that, then he is every chance to be right there for the leading goal kicker of the league for the second half. Other than that, yeah, pretty even performance, I think. As I said, Sid looked good, Cook looked good, and it was a pretty easy performance. It was just an absolute smacking of North Adelaide at Prospect on the weekend. So I don't know. I don't watch enough SANFL to gauge whether North are any good or if it was just a bad performance or what it was, but it was encouraging to see our boys sort of just run all over the top and not give them anything really.
Yeah, well, what North is sitting, they're outside the five at the moment. They're sitting in seventh. Um, they do have the second most score against on
Yeah.
them, so I don't think the defense is too good. But we've got West Torrens next week, who got absolutely killed by Stir. I'm not sure if you saw the score there at half time, which was
That was
105
not.
points
Yeah.
to 2. So
They got touched up.
yeah, so we could have another big win on Saturday 11. Oh, it was 11:15, and it is out at West Torrens. So you could do the double. You could do the back to back. The 11. I think it's 11:15. How can I just saw it? Yeah,
Insane.
look. It is. It's 11:15 start on Sunday, so you could do a back to back. Go out and watch the SANFL at West Torrens,
Oh,
and
there,
then head
curtain
down
raiser.
oh, is it Curtain Raiser? Oh,
Yeah,
it's at Adelaide
Adelaide
Oval.
Oval.
There you go. You could see me heading in a little bit early then. I didn't know that. That's a nice.
Yeah,
If the weather holds up,
decent
it
day.
could
It'd
be
be out there.
that. That could be nice to see, a few of the boys who don't watch Charlie Edwards but still want him in the team. This is the perfect opportunity for you to go watch some Charlie Edwards play some football. Um, but if the shoe, I'm not naming any names, but if the shoe fits, fellas, that's for you.
That's not bad actually. I don't know about 11:15 start. You could see me rolling in about half time or so.
Oh, you
But
won't see me there at 11:15, but you can see me there for the second half.
yeah, might be a good one to watch and just cruise in and watch us win by 27 goals. Hopefully.
Yeah, would be nice, and lay some eyes on, as I said, Charlie Edwards, who I don't think half of the people who wanted to come in has watched him played before, but it's all right. Good opportunity for you guys.
Absolutely. So we'll see you down there potentially on Sunday morning / early afternoon. Before we take on the Dees, of course, Sunday afternoon 2:50. I think it's first kickoff, which is a horrible time for a game. The Sunday 2:50 is almost worse than the Sunday twilight. Personally, it's just a very average time. Any changes from the side from last week? Do you reckon? Do you think Murphy holds on? Does he go out?
No, I think Murphy goes out. I think Pedler comes in. Much to
Yeah.
Dom's disgust. Um,
Forgot to mention with the SANFL, Zachy Taylor played a very good game as well.
he
He
kicked
might be
4
the
as
one.
well. Kicked four and had 15. So he played around. I think he played off a high half forward.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't surprise me if he comes in after kicking 4 as well.
he could be
So
the one.
as I said, I didn't watch any of the games, so I'm not actually sure how well he played. Because we did kick 20. What did we kick? 24 goals.
Yeah, 23. Yeah,
Yeah, we kicked 23 goals. So I'm not 100% sure if he comes in off the back of 4, but and Pedler didn't play, so we'll see what happens. If we want to reward someone, then probably Zach Taylor comes in for Murphy. But if we want to just go basically unchanged from what we have been doing, then I think Pedler comes back in and Murphy goes out. I reckon that might be the only change.
yeah, absolutely. I'm probably on the camp where Taylor comes in for him because from what I saw, he played a very good game and he was playing off sort of a half forward role as well, which would fit the position that Murph played, and it'd be good to reward him because he has been playing very well. It was probably a bit stiff to lose his place in the league side when he did, so it'd be good to see him come back in. Other than that, you probably don't really mess with a side that won by 70 points too much. Seem to have pretty good cohesion. Weather should be relatively sort of okay and similar to what we played in last week. So I think we keep rolling. No need to make changes for no reason. So happy with that. In terms of the result, you reckon we get the win?
Yeah, I think we'll get up on Sunday. I think it'll be 5-6 goals, but I reckon it'll be pretty competitive for three quarters and probably run away with it late.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm worried about is Cozzy Pickett because man, that boy can play and we've seen him come really really good the last 6 weeks. So I'm a little bit worried about Cozzy getting off the mark. But if someone can go to him and do a role, that'll be good. And then the other matchup I'm a little bit worried about is Gorn versus Rob in terms of first use, because you don't really want to be giving Petrarca and Clayton first use of the football.
Yeah,
So we'll see what goes on. But Rob is normally he's able to nullify the his direct opponent pretty well. But yeah, don't really want Gorn getting off the hook and getting to those next contests and being able to take big marks down the ground. But I think it'll be okay.
yeah, tend to agree. And yeah, to that point, Clary loves the game at Adelaide Oval, so keep it as far away from him as absolutely possible. I tend to agree. I think we probably do get on top. 20 to 30 points is probably what you're looking at for mine. And then yeah, just hopefully just do what we need to do again and just keep rolling on and get the win. Plain and simply as that. So I'll go probably say 22 points. And I think Filth probably kicks another bag because you could be looking at a pretty depleted Melbourne backline. You assume Jake Lever might come back in, but I think you could probably get on top of them.
Who do we think that Ed Langdon goes to?
Whoa.
He's been playing pretty big roles in people. Like he did it on Noah Anderson last week, did it on Dacos the week before. Does he go to a Rankin or does he go to a Dawson? Because if he goes to Dawson, Dawson just pushes forward, and there's no point of putting Langdon on him.
Yeah, I think he probably does go to a Rankin probably, but Rankin can do the same thing to him and just push forward. But yeah, it's probably Isaac. I think you're wasting time if you're trying to send him to Jordan Dawson. But
like I do say that he went to Anderson. Anderson still had 27 touches, but he didn't have the involvement that he usually has.
no,
So we'll see what goes on. But I think he goes to a Rankin.
yeah, no, I tend to agree. We'll see what Melbourne do, but that's probably where I'd be looking as well. Anyway, mate, before we head off, is there anything else you wanted to touch on? Anything about the upcoming game that you wanted to chat about?
No, I think we've covered it off pretty well. I'm just sort of intrigued to see what the Knicks haters and all the Twitter squad selection brigade whinge about this week. So I've seen a little bit about 2 and 5 against top 8 sides, which is a fun one. They just like to move the goalpost when they can. So keep on going, boys. You're really entertaining me when I'm on break at work to see you guys whinging. So it's good to see.
Yeah, look, the group chat's been very vocal today. There's one specific member who is one of the anti-Nixers and is on about that. You could have checked in at 8 a.m. and come back at 5 p.m. and the same conversation was happening, but that's okay.
I'm sure half of it is know him on Twitter of the dose. So absolute toss pot, but it's fine.
Well, other than that, thank you very much to everyone for listening along. Proper Classics will be up Thursday morning, and we've got an absolute ripper of a game to look at this week. Probably one of the weirder ones in our history, the 2002 semi-final, which I think was supposed to be played here in Adelaide, I'm pretty sure, but weird AFL rules or something like that. Went up by 30 points, went down by 20 points, and then came back and got the win again. It was very fun to make and a very fun game to watch. So keep an eye on that on Twitter and TikTok on Thursday morning. Our first interview, as we mentioned, with Matt Samet, the Saxman, is out at the moment on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So check that out ahead of his big performance this week against the Dees 2. Our review of the game will be out on Monday or Tuesday next week, probably a similar time to this one, considering the game will be a similar time. At Proper Crows Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you very much for listening. And Deal, thank you very much for joining.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you Sunday.
Absolutely, you will, mate.
All right. Thank you very much. Go Crow.
Indeed, go Crow.
Ring the bell! Ring the bell! The bell in the city of churches! Stand up like Matthew Nix and rule like you never have before!
Jarman again, round the body, that'll do. Oh, that will do. Oh.